What's up, y'all? It's your girl T. Louise, and you are tuned in to Twisted 20s. Today's podcast episode is sponsored by my company, The Major Comeback, where we specialize in apparel dedicated to reminding God's people of their God-given purpose. And you can check out some of our merch at themajorcomeback.com. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to a new episode of Twisted 20s. Today's episode, you guys, look, this episode is so vital. It is so important because we oftentimes sabotage our own lives because we are afraid, me included. And y'all know every episode is based off of real life experiences for me because I am not no judge. I am not coming on here and giving y'all advice for nothing that I have not been through. I have been through so much. I have said no to opportunities out of fear. I have said no to assignments out of fear. I have started and stopped so many things in my life out of fear. And so today I'm going to be diving into how we self-sabotage our own lives with fear. I hope that this episode really encourages you, and I hope that it helps you to realize what areas in your life that you are self-sabotaging because you are afraid. Once again, you guys, Twisted 20's website is up, and you guys can still email me at submissions@twisted20s.org. With that being said, we are going to go ahead and get into today's podcast episode. All right, y'all. So I feel like this podcast episode was so important because it wasn't until maybe like a couple months ago that I actually realized that I had been self-sabotaging my life with fear. Like, I have been saying no to so many things in my life because I have been fearful. And what I've come to realize is that fear keeps us in seasons longer than we need to be. It keeps us in prolonged seasons and prolonged situations. There are situations that God has been trying to get us out of, but we won't do the work. There is places that God has been trying to take us to, but we won't do the work because we are afraid. Or if you are or were like me, you would start and stop. Like, that was my MO, is I would start and stop so many things because I didn't feel worthy, or I didn't feel like I deserved what God was telling me that he was going to give me. And something else I also had to look back on is I had to ask God, like, God, why do I start and stop so much in my life? I could not understand why I was so inconsistent to me. Why was I so inconsistent to my dreams? Why was I so inconsistent for the things that I wanted in life? But let it come to somebody else. Let it come to other people. I was pouring into them. Oh, I was seeing the vision from start to finish. I'm encouraging them. I'm building them up. But when it came to me, I would start and I would stop, and I didn't feel that I was worthy. And I had to ask God, and God revealed to me that it stems from my father. Now, this was something that I didn't really get at the time. I didn't get it right then and there. But God kept giving me revelation. And he told me, because your father was the first sign. He was the first person to show you that it was okay for you to be inconsistent to yourself. My dad was so inconsistent in my life. He was so inconsistent. He would show up when he wanted to, and then he would dip out whenever he wanted to. There's nights that I would be, waiting for him to come and pick me up, and he would never show up. And so I do the same things to myself. So think of it like this. It's like yourself is waiting for you to show up, and you not showing up. Yourself, the person that God has created you to be, is, just think of it like this. It's sitting outside with their backpack on, waiting on you to come in the car and pick them up. And you never show up, even though you told them, I'm on my way. Or even though you told them, I'll be there in 15 minutes. I'm coming on Saturday, and you never show up. You never show up. Or you show up, you do good for a couple days, and then you disappear. That's how I was treating myself. And I know I can't be the only person that has been doing that. And so that's why I found that this episode is so important, because it goes hand in hand with the podcast episode I did last week. And so that's just a little bit of my testimony when it comes to starting and stopping things. And when God revealed that to me, I'm not going to even lie, I still was starting and stopping. Even after he revealed that to me, because it was something that I had to get worked out of me. It was something that God had to work out of me. It was something that I had to work on. And so that is why, and even with that being said, when my dad was inconsistent with me, it made me feel like I wasn't worthy. It made me feel like, well, what's wrong with me? You don't love me. You don't, am I not accepted? Do you not love me? Do you not want me? So then we start picking up on all these different identities. Y'all, today in church, we learned about unlocking your new identity within Christ. I did not understand, how, like, all the next week, I don't even know if it's going to be next week's episode, but I'm going to find a way to fit, about identity crisis in with this month's episodes, because I think it's so important, because self-sabotaging, feeling like you're not worthy, feeling like you don't deserve things, feeling like you are worthless, you don't love yourself, you are insecure, you're fearful to make mistakes, you're fearful to do the things that God has already given you the green light for. It all is affected by how we see ourselves, which is an identity. I have had an identity crisis, and I truly have to figure out how to merge the episode in, but I'm gonna do that somehow, some way. But I say all that to say, it's like, fear will keep you prisoner to your past mistakes. It will keep you prisoner to your past traumas, and it will prevent you from being obedient. It kept me from being obedient. God was telling me to launch stuff, and I was like, nah. I would do it, and then I would literally talk myself out of it. Oh, well, it's not the way I want it. It has to be perfect. It has to be like this. It has to look like this. And God is like, it will get there. And it's like, because what I've really learned is God will always show me the finished product of something. Like, he stays showing me the finished product. And that's what I always see on my mind. Like, I'm not a person that really likes process. I've learned that about myself. I don't like process. If you show me something, okay, I just want that. I don't want the process. I just want the finished product, and that's it. But that's something that God has really been working on me about, because I have to go through a process. And so when God is telling me to launch certain stuff, and I'm like, God, I don't know about that. Like, the way that Twisted 20s is going, I really had to submit to it. And I'm submitting to it because I've understood that God has something better for Twisted 20s. I never imagined Twisted 20s going in the route that it was going, and that it is going. And it's just fear kept me from truly living. I was so busy trying to chase the bag. I was so busy trying to chase money. Like, my boyfriend said something to me. Babe said something to me the other day. He was like, this need to be on a podcast. So I'm going to quote him. I hope he's not going to be too salty with me. But he said something about money keeping him a prisoner, or chasing the bag kept him a prisoner. And I want you to understand something. We are so focused on making money that we don't even make moves. We are not out here making real moves. God's people, okay, and that's us. We make money when we make moves. We make money when we are obedient to what God has for us. We make money when we take that risk. We make money when we submit to his will. We make money when we are obedient and we are saying, okay, God, Whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do, whether I'm not making any money in this season or not. Because whether we realize it or not, the money will come. And I'm not just talking to you, I'm talking to me too, because this is something that I really struggle with. God said, I need you to be a full-time content creator. I need you to focus on your podcast full-time. And I was like, well, God, that ain't paying the bills. I need a job. And God was like, I need you to do this. You have Instacart. I need you to do this, and I need you to be grateful for the money that you are making with Instacart, because sooner or later, you will get paid from being a content creator. But I need you to trust where I am taking you. And if I was fearful, I would have never said yes, because fear will keep you in a disobedient stance. It will keep you in a disobedient state. And sometimes we don't look at fear as disobedience, because we just see it as, I'm fearful. I don't want to do it. But whether we want to realize it or not, we are still saying no. We are still not making the moves that God has told us to make. I can't be the only one out here that God done told you, write that book, start that podcast, start that blog, start that clothing line, open up that Etsy store, open up that daycare center, open up, that modeling agency, open up that branding agency, open up that graphic design agency, whatever it is that God has been telling you to do, and you not doing it because you fearful. Well, God, how I'm gonna make money? God, how I'm gonna get clients? God, I don't want to quit my job. God, I'm stable. And God is saying, you barely making ends meet. And you stable? If that's how you see stable, barely making ends meet, living check to check, I have so much more for you, but you will not become a millionaire living in fear. You will not make the money that you need to make to pursue your dreams, to bless others, if you stay in fear. Fear will hold you back from literally accomplishing your assignment. Let me tell you something. Just because you're fearful, you do not get out of your assignment. Your assignment is still there. Your assignment, you do not get out of it just because you are fearful. You don't get out of it. It's still there. It's not going anywhere. And no matter how long you're fearful, the only person you holding back is you and whoever else God is using, whoever else God is going to use. What am I trying to say? Y'all, I'm getting so passionate. The only person you are holding back is going to be you and the people that God is going to release, the people that God is going to bring breakthroughs, the people that God is going to help and heal and bring to him through you, because you won't accomplish what he is telling you to do. You are literally self-sabotaging your life. You are self-sabotaging. I am ready to be 25 years old this year. And I said to myself, what am I going to do different this year? I have spent half of my life. I'm not going to even say half, because I don't even feel like I'm at the half mark yet. I'm only finna be 25. But I have spent so much of my life living and moving out of fear. And I said, I had to take a real look at myself, and I said, I'm going to be 25. I do not want to be where I was next year. By the time I turn 30, I don't want to be looking back on life. Heck, by the time I turn 26, I don't want to look back on life and say, man, I wish I had did that. What if I had done this? What if I had did that? Because a couple months ago, or I'll just say last month I was reflecting on that. What if I really had opened Major Comeback up in January and been consistent with it? Where could I have been? Where could I have been? Where could have God taken the Major Comeback? I'm looking at Twisted 20s. God is doing his thing. He is doing his thing. Because I said yes. Because I am being obedient. He is doing his thing. And I already know that what I'm only seeing now is only the surface. I haven't even got to the depths of the plans that he has for me. But I got to a point in life, you have to get to this point in life where you say, I'm tired. I'm tired. I am sick and tired of being sick and tired. I am tired of feeling like I am stuck. I am tired of feeling like I am not doing anything with my life. You will constantly, I learned something at church today. I got to pull my notes up because I want to quote it correctly. Here it is. You will live the rest of your life feeling inadequate if you do not understand your identity in Christ. Same thing with self-sabotaging. You will live the rest of your life feeling inadequate if you do not move from a place of fear. If you do not be obedient to what God is telling you, because everything that you do, you will start feeling like you are not being fulfilled. This is true story, y'all. True story. I have worked in customer service, retail, fast food. I have worked also in healthcare since I was in high school. Since I was in high school, I worked. I had a job. But every job that I worked, I never felt fulfilled. I would always start and stop. I've never worked at a job longer than a year. Maybe even 6 months. Heck, even maybe 2 or 3 months. Okay. The longest job I probably have had was Bath and Body Works. And I'm just being honest. Okay. And even with Bath and Body Works, I didn't even feel fulfilled. But I did it because I needed to do it in that season. But I say all that to say is like, I spent so much of my time in high school, so much of my time in college feeling inadequate, feeling unfulfilled because I was trying to do everything else that I had no business doing. And God is saying, I have placed something on the inside of you that I need you to do. I have placed something on the inside of you that is going to fulfill you. I have placed something on the inside of you that I need you to do. And the longer that the longer you allow fear to hold you back, you will keep self-sabotaging yourself and your life. There are so many adults that look back on their life and they say, oh, I wish I had done this differently. Oh, I wish I had done that. I wish I had took that risk. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to be looking back on my life, sitting in my rocking chair on my porch at 70 years old saying, I wish I had done that. I wish I had done this. I grew up in a single mother household where my mama worked her butt off and she still lived check to check. We were homeless twice out of my life. Twice. And I ain't trying to go back to that. I'm not trying to ever go back to a point where I feel worthless. Where I feel like, God, what is my purpose? I don't ever want to go back to a point where I feel like this is all. Like when sleeping in your car, being homeless, will have you feeling like this is all that you have. This must be it. And God is saying, no, it's not. This is not all that I have for you. It's not. And that's what God is telling you as we live our inadequate lives. And we plan without him. And we ignore him. And we ignore the purpose that he has for us in the assignments. And that's why you stressing. That's why your life is so hectic. That's why you depressed and sad and mad and angry at the world. That's why you're not happy. Because you keep self-sabotaging your life. I don't care what nobody say. We all got a purpose. Whether you atheist, Buddhist, it don't matter. God created you in his image. We all have a purpose. And we all need to figure out what our purpose is. We all have a purpose. We all have assignments. And some people assignments, whether they want to realize it or not, an enemy got assignments for people too. People out here doing evil. But even outside of that evil, when you really step into Christ, and I will talk about this in another episode, but when you really step into Christ, you find out what your assignment is in Christ. Because we was already born into sin. We was gonna sin. That's another thing of not, and that's another episode for another day, y'all. I ain't gonna even get into that right now. because I know if I do this podcast episode, gonna be an hour. It's gonna be an hour. Y'all, I'm so serious. Like, you cannot allow fear to be your chains. You are a slave to fear. You are allowing fear to block you from going to the next level. The cycle will not stop until you do the work. It just won't. You have to do the work. So, are you going to do the work, or are you going to continue to live a life where you are self-sabotaging yourself and your life? Are you going to continue to live in fear? Or are you really going to ask God, what your assignment is? How have I been allowing fear to stop me in my business, in my assignments, relationships, opportunities? What opportunities have I missed because I've been led by fear? What assignments have I missed because I've been led by fear? What business opportunities have I missed because I've been led by fear? Y'all, I gotta get off. I gotta end this podcast episode because I will stay on here. Y'all don't understand how passionate I feel about this. I am at a point in my life now where I'm like, this is it. I am tired. This is it. Life has to be so much more than this. There is so much more that God has to offer for me. And you have to get to a point in your life where you say, this is it. And sometimes you got to look in the mirror and you got to say, Linda, okay? Linda, you're not going to self-sabotage no more. Linda, okay? I'm just saying the name. I like the name Linda, okay? Linda, I will not be fearful anymore of my assignment. I will not be fearful anymore. I will not be fearful to open up that business. And sometimes you got to travel back a little bit. You got to go back. You got to ask God to reveal some things from your childhood, because oftentimes we forget stuff from our childhood. I didn't understand that my dad was the first person that showed me inconsistency and showed me that it was okay to be inconsistent to myself. Telling y'all, you're self-sabotaging your own life because of fear. Because of fear. Let me look up that quote. The quote that they say about dreams. Let me see. The graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is where you will find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled. The books that were never written, the songs that were never sung, the inventions that were never shared, the cures that were never discovered, all because someone was too afraid to take the first step, keep with the problem, or determined to carry out their dream. That is by Les Brown. He said this. I'm telling y'all this. You are too afraid to take the first step, and some of y'all are too afraid for no reason. And I'm telling y'all this because of experience. I was too afraid to take the first step, not even realizing that God had already given me the green light. When God gives you the green light for something, you should be able to take that first step and not even have fear. Because if God is telling you to do something, trust and believe He is going to give you everything you need. Let me tell y'all. Okay, this is going to be the last thing, and I promise I'm going to end this podcast episode. This is going to be the last thing. I was trying to hook my camera up to do my live interviews to my computer, and it wasn't working. It wasn't reading it. So I said, okay, God, what next? So my pastor at church, he was telling me, you can buy this equipment. He was showing me a setup that he had on Tuesday night when we go to our celebrate freedom class on Tuesdays. And I was like, okay. So God was, I looked it up. I probably needed about $200. I said, God, I'm like, okay, my camera's not working. I didn't get frustrated. And that's how I know I'm growing. I didn't get frustrated. And I said, okay, God, how can I afford this? I need to be able to do my live interviews. I need to be able to interview people. You told me to interview people. I kid you not. I don't remember if it was the same day or the day after my pastor texted me and said, hey, I'm going to give you my setup and I'm going to use another one. God has given me the green light in Twisted 20s. He said he has given me the green light. And because I have taken the first step, God has been supplying my every need. My every need. So a lot of y'all are fearful because you don't have something. You're fearful because you don't understand how you're going to pay for something. You're fearful because you don't know what steps to take, not even realizing that the first step is to just submit and say, yes, God. And God will handle the rest. But you have to submit and you have to say yes. 2022 is the year of stopping self-sabotaging with fear. It is time for us to stop living in fear. I love y'all. Make sure you guys email me if you guys enjoyed this podcast episode. I would love to hear back from you guys. You guys can email me at submissions at twisted20s.org, or you can contact me through the website at twisted20s.org. As also, you guys can contact me on social media as well. I am T. Louise or the Twisted 20s podcast. I love you guys. Peace, love, and blessings. T. Louise.